Day 1102 off the grid, and today I've been working on the generator's muffler with some stuff I bought at Bunnings yesterday. Was in this box here. Yeah, the day, well not the day before that, so that would have been day 1100 off the grid. We had enough overcastness for long enough that the generator needed to be run, especially since we went shopping yesterday. About 10 minutes into the run, when all the loads were on it, it suddenly got really loud because the muffler had failed again. My original fix just involved this JB weld around the manifold here, if that's what you call it, and that was fine. It survived through 2 health runs, sort of 15-minute lightly loaded runs that I've done because we haven't needed the generator. Like I say, 10 minutes of full load. But this time the failure was a little bit different. There was a bracket, a really shitty thin little bracket here, welded on, like literally tacked on with a couple of welds. It broke off. So I reckon the bracket broke off and then the JB weld failed. So I knew I had to do something better. And this was basically the idea I had. To get a bolt, put it right through the muffler and bolt a really thick galvanized steel bracket on that I purchased from Bunnings. But while I was at Bunnings, I came up with this idea to put some straps onto the manifold here using a hose clip. And the idea of that is it kind of backs up the JB weld, and if the JB weld does fail, hopefully it'll just hold the pipe in there while this end holds. So it might get a little bit louder, but we should be able to get through a generation run without freaking out that it's so loud that it's annoying the neighbours. So yeah, so that's the guts of it really. Couple of old bits of galvanized steel here, made a strap, hose clip around there, bolts right through, using both nylox and a split washer because this is under a lot of vibration. I mean, that's where the problem comes from. As for the bracket, some packers. This one is here because where one of the welds was, when the weld came off, it left a bloody hole, didn't it? Well, I could have filled it with JB weld, but I don't want to wait for glue to dry, so I just made this, and this plus the other piece of that bracket that I hacksawed off packs that perfectly to fit nicely. So I'm about to go and install it back onto the machine and fire it up. Well, I've just turned off the radio here so that I can talk to you about this and not have to do any YouTube sort of masking like I normally do on some videos. I'm going to say a bit about the radio now before getting into this. Yeah, I went in here the other day and tried to tune in George FM on 104.2 and I couldn't find it. Instead I found this other station playing rather crass old music. Well, yesterday I found an advertising billboard really. Yeah, billboard on a trailer in Palmerston North saying that George FM is now on 107.1. So my suspicions were correct. They had gone off their original frequency. What has replaced them is this station called Magic FM, which is not really my cup of tea. It kind of cuts in before Radio Foxton starts with 50s, 60s, 70s, but stops well short of when things get really cool, in my view, which is, of course, the 80s, you know? So it's like hearing Harry all the time, kind of thing. Yeah. But unfortunately, George FM's new frequency, 107.1, seems to be low power FM, or at least it's not pointing in our direction, because by the time we get to Opiki, the signal's completely lost and there's no chance of picking it up here in Shannon. So that's a real pity. But anyway, where were we? Okay, I've installed the muffler back on the machine. As you can see, there's that bracket held in there. There's the manifold pipe joined back on to the outlet from the cylinder. I had to use a shifting spanner to get this nut rather than the socket set, because of course this is in the way, but that was no big drama. And that's what it looks like on that side. There's our nuts. So I'm basically going to throw the fuel tank on here now and fire her up. Of course, ironically, while I work on the generator, things have become a bit less generator desperate, as the clouds are starting to break up a bit and the day's got a heck of a lot brighter. Just great, eh? But still, I'm going to fire it up and test it. So, yeah, there we go.